The Bureau of Customs says only the Rolls Royce Cullinan, previously owned by contractor couple Sarah and Curly Discaya, was successfully sold during an auction. This is the third time the luxury vehicle was subject to auction after 2 failed biddings. The Bureau put 10 seized luxury cars up for auction on Wednesday, February 11. The Rolls Royce was sold to Igorot Stone Kingdom for 29,026,000 pesos from its floor price of about 29,025,000 pesos. Of the 10 vehicles, 8 belonged to the contractor couple while 2 foreigners owned the 2 Bugatti Chiron. The Discaya couple's Rolls Royce and Bentley Bentayga were offered at auction 3 times already after the Bureau failed to secure bids at the auctions held in November and December 2025. 13 luxury cars of the Discayas are in the custody of the Bureau of Customs. The first 2 auctions featured 7 cars of the couple, which were subject to voluntary forfeiture after the agency learned they had no import entry records and certificates of payment. Meanwhile, the other 6 vehicles from the Wednesday auction had import entry records but questionable payment documents. According to the Bureau, there will be a re-auction of the 6 unsold vehicles on February 25. The Bentley Bentayga and 2 Bugatti Chiron units may be considered for the direct offer option. Customs spokesperson Chris Bendio says the agency will await the decision of Commissioner Ariel Nepomuceno on whether or not to sell the vehicles through a direct offer. He notes that as the Bugatti Chiron units previously failed to secure bids, their value will depreciate over time as they are exposed to other elements.
The instruction of the commissioner is to keep on auctioning them. No? Again, ang purpose dito kasi is we are able to maximize the value. Kasi kapag auction, determined ng DOC ang floor price. Again, using yung depreciation factors. No? Unlike kapag direct offer, the offer comes from the private sector, we have no control as to what the floor price will be. Baka yun yung balance na kailangan namin i-determine, no? Do we try to get the much revenue, the higher revenue, versus yung inability naman to sell? We don't want naman to give a floor price that's really low to the disadvantage naman of the government. So the committee will have to decide on that.
According to Bendijo, the agency will not destroy the vehicles that will be left unsold after a series of auctions, even if this is an available remedy for forfeiture cars under its custody. He says the Bureau prefers to collect revenue from the auction, which will be remitted to the Bureau of Treasury to fund government projects. President Bongbong Marcos will remain firm but diplomatic following China's criticism of a Senate resolution condemning remarks by the Chinese embassy that targeted Philippine officials and institutions. Chinese embassy spokesperson Ji Lingpeng described Senate Resolution No. 256 as anti-China and a mere political stunt. In a briefing on Wednesday, February 11, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro says the president respects China's freedom of expression. The palace official also brushed off possibilities of changing the Philippines' approach in defending its national sovereignty and maritime rights.
Ang Pangulo po kasi ay rumirespeto sa kalayaan ng pamamahayag. Kung may kalayaan po ang China sa kanilang pamamahayag, ganun din naman po ang sino man na Pilipino at kung ano man din po ang inihayag ng Senado. At muli, uulitin po natin ang posisyon ng Pangulo patungkol po sa relasyon sa China. Firm but diplomatic po. Hindi po kasi natin masasabi na ang pagiging palaban ay siyang magiging magandang solusyon para maayos kung ano man ang sigalot sa bansang China.
Meanwhile, the palace says it will not interfere with the Chinese government's decision to impose a travel ban on more than a dozen local officials. The ban covers 16 individuals who were responsible for a municipal council resolution in Kalayaan, Palawan that declared Chinese Ambassador Jing Quan persona non grata. Kalayaan is a small municipality on Pag-asa Island that administers the Philippine-occupied features in the Spratly Islands.
Kung ano man po ang naging desisyon at polisiya ng China ay hindi naman po natin to saklaw. Katulad din po ng hindi nila dapat masaklawan kung ano po ang nagiging desisyon ng administrasyon na ito. Pero ang detalye po niyan ay mas maganda po na ibigay ko na po kay Secretary Tess Lazaro ng DFA.
For its part, the Department of Foreign Affairs says China's move does not foster good and vibrant bilateral relations. The DFA emphasizes that both the Philippines and China have committed to these ties that reinvigorate people-to-people interaction. Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson assures Ombudsman Boying Remulla and the public that the Blue Ribbon Committee's recommendations are still based on the pieces of evidence gathered from its investigation into the flood control scandal. In a message to reporters on Wednesday, February 11, Lacson says the Ombudsman knows the play of politics in Congress as a former congressman. He says both testimonial and documentary pieces of evidence remain as the panel's guide in making its recommendation. Remulla earlier described as a political move the panel's decision to correct its initial recommendations against those implicated in the scandal, including Senators Chis Escudero, Jinggoy Estrada, and Joel Villanueva. He remarked that what mattered most was what is acceptable to everyone or to the majority. Lacson earlier confirmed that a draft report of the Blue Ribbon Committee recommended plunder and other criminal and administrative charges against the 3 senators, among other individuals. But according to Lacson on Tuesday, February 10, the panel was correcting the wording of the report to reflect its recommendation. The report will say that those involved should undergo a preliminary investigation instead of the earlier suggested filing of charges against them. Nevertheless, he stresses on Wednesday that nothing has changed in the report's substance and intent. According to Lacson, the draft partial report must secure the signatures of at least 11 members of the committee before it could be sent to the plenary for discussion. Malacanang denies rumors that President Bongbong Marcos was diagnosed with colon cancer and was seen wearing a colostomy bag at a public event. Fugitive and former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque earlier posted on his social media about the alleged colostomy bag, which was reportedly visible through the president's clothing in a video recorded at an event in Pasay City. In a briefing on Wednesday, February 11, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro describes Roque's remark as baseless claims that damage the government. She even considers Roque as a purveyor of fake news.
Ayun na nga po ang masama ay kasi mga rumors, mga chismis, walang katotohanan na nakakapanira sa gobyerno, nakakapanira sa Pangulo, na nakakaapekto sa ekonomiya. Kung manggagaling lamang po din kay Harry Roque na isang masasabi na natin isang fake news peddler, nakita naman po natin ang video, yung kabuuan kung saan itinaas pa po mismo ng Pangulo ang kanyang mga kamay habang siya'y kumakaway sa ating mga kababayan at kitang-kita po na ang sinasabing larawan o ipinakitang larawan ni Harry Roque ay pawang kasinungalingan lamang.
Marcos resumed attending events outside Malacanang last week following his hospitalization due to diverticulitis on the evening of January 21. The president visibly lost weight after being on a soup-only diet, but Marcos assured the public that he was recovering well and that there was nothing to worry about. An alleged medical report circulated online days after his hospitalization, claiming that Marcos's condition was worse than what had been publicly disclosed. The palace immediately refuted the report, saying it was fake.